It's a lovely day today. Actually the weather's really poop today, so let's go do some stuff inside. Well, thank you for joining me inside. As you might see, this is a little bit of a different setup to what we normally have. Firstly, Betty's not here today. She's gone out to try a new sport for the first time, so very excited for her jumping out and doing that. Secondary to that, I've got a little bit of a different setup that I'm trying here in the background. A notable addition is this awesome RGB light that Betty got me for Christmas, so I'm very excited to give it its initial run, and based off the first 5 minutes that I've given it a crack, I would like about 3 more of these, so that would be great. Thank you very much. So today's video topic is about gardening hardiness zones. An important part of learning to garden is understanding your gardening hardiness zone. Your zone can help determine the right time to plant certain vegetables, what plants will flourish or suffer in your climate, and help you understand how your climate might differ from other gardeners you meet. Generally, the way that these zones are worked out is by information put together by the United States Department of Agriculture, the USDA, as a rough guide for landscaping and gardening. I'll be referring to that scale here for the most part. It's worth noting that Australia and other countries like Canada and the UK all have their own versions, which ours was created by the Australian National Botanic Gardens Department, which has been created more in keeping with the Aussie climate, but it's also a bit interchangeable from what I can gather, and for the benefit of our international viewers, I'm going to keep referring to the zones nominated under the USDA version in this video. So within these zones, there can be microclimates, usually to do with things like mountain ranges, proximity to the ocean. It's best to get to know your local area and what other people are successfully growing where you live, so you can see from history what works and what doesn't before you put a lot of time and energy into it. Our zone is 10B, as I said earlier. These zones are determined by the average minimum temperatures in the area. So, for instance, our average temperature gets in the range of 1.7 to 4.4 degrees Celsius. If you live in zone 9A, for instance, your minimum average temperatures could be between minus 6.7 and minus 3.9 degrees Celsius. So there is a big difference between what zones you're in, and it's a really good idea to have a look at the maps that are around for your particular country and see what zones you might live in, just to give you a bit of a head start. We're also in a temperate environment, which means we enjoy warm winters, and during the summer it gets pretty hot, but the humidity tends to stay low as well. So that in our area there's a distinct 4 seasons to the environment, which is a little bit different for some of our neighbours that live, say, in the tropics, like the northern Queensland areas, which generally just have a wet season and a dry season, as opposed to your standard summer, autumn, spring, winter season base. In the cooler seasons here, it can get a tiny bit frosty, but because we're near the ocean and also on a balcony, it's not something that we really need to worry about too much for our personal garden. If you live somewhere out in the countryside or even in the outer suburbs of Melbourne like we have previously, definitely we get smashed by frost in the mornings. Not as much as you see in other countries. Looking at you, Canada. But certainly something to think about when you're making your planting arrangements for the year as well. As I said before, the summer heat can get super intense where we are, so consistent watering, providing shade where possible, mulching your gardens is a requirement. We often live in drought conditions in this country, and over the summer months where water can be a commodity, moisture really needs to be maintained in the soil as much as possible. So anything that you can do to maintain that, you want to go ahead and do that. One of the best bits about living in this kind of climate and having those 4 distinct seasons is that it opens us up to a variety of vegetables and fruits and plants in general that we can grow in different times of the year. So we're not stuck with the same varieties of things all year round, which gives us some more options on the plate. Cool season crops planted in autumn include things like spinach, kale, spring onions, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage. Warmer season crops can be planted in spring, usually late spring, can include carrots, which can actually also go in late summer as well, turnips, beetroot, pumpkin, potatoes, celery. The start of spring is actually a really good time to start veggies in your greenhouse if you have one. If you don't have a greenhouse, see our video up here on how you can start growing seedlings without having an actual greenhouse yourself. These give you a kickstart to growing some veggies that usually don't like to be planted until late in spring, like capsicums, eggplant, tomatoes, chilies, all those sorts of varieties as well. So in summary, this video is more about giving you some ideas about what you can do to plan your garden out for the rest of your year and following years to come. The best thing to do is grab a pen and paper, go to the internet, figure out what zone you're in if you don't know off the top of your head, check out if it's temperate, cool, tropical, all those sort of things factor in. Once you know what sort of environment you're in, then you can see the sorts of fruit, vegetables and plants in general that grow in those areas, and you can start planning out when you want them to grow throughout the year and when you have to plant the seeds. Hope this video helped set you up for a great 2021, and we'll catch you all soon. Bye!